Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video I thought we would use a few of the new Kiki London rubber colour bases to create a sandwich layered stamping design, so I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now I'm going to be using two of the gorgeous new shades from the Kiki London rubber colour base collection. If you would like to check out the swatch video for these, it is up on the Kiki London YouTube channel, so I will leave that linked in the description box below. But this beautiful one is RB21 and it kind of has a milky white base with these beautiful fine glitter flakes in them. It's really pretty, and as soon as I see it I had this idea of sandwiching a stamped image between two layers of this, and I knew it would be a bit of an experiment, but I love experimenting with nail art, so I thought it would be something fun to try. So I've done one coat of both of those colours and then I've popped that into cure for 30 seconds, and now I'm going to set up for stamping. So I'm trying out this new stamper that I picked up from AliExpress. I did show you guys this in a haul and I said that I would review it, so this is my first time using it so you guys can see my first impressions. I've also got my scraper, some stamping polishes, a lint roller for cleaning lint, and then some lint-free pads for cleaning up with acetone, which I have also got, but it's just out of shot. So I'm going to start off by taking the stamping polish, applying this to half of the image and scraping the excess down to fill the image. And then this stamper does have a little lid that you can take off the edge or the end, sorry, so that you can look through the stamper to see your design. Now it did feel a little bit firmer than some stampers that I'm used to using, but I did find it really easy to use. As you can see, it picked up the image beautifully and it stamped it down with absolutely no issues. Predominantly I do use the Born Pretty stamping polishes, and I do find these really easy to stamp with, and they have quite a nice color range as well. So first impressions, it picked up the image nicely. It's a little firmer than I might like, but it was really easy to use like majority of these jelly style stampers. However, I did find that after a couple of uses, I did notice one or two little nicks in the jelly. Now this didn't actually affect its use. However, it's something to bear in mind that I wouldn't say it's as durable as some of the more expensive ones I've used, but for the price, personally, I don't think I could complain. I think it was around £3. And yeah, it does the job. And if you're not stamping day in, day out, then I think this would be a great choice. Like if you're just doing stamping on your own nails, because then you're not going to be using it loads. But if you was working on clients, I think you would need something a little bit more durable. You can kind of see them little nicks there. I think this is just where the edge of the tip has pressed in, even though I didn't necessarily press down too firmly with it. Anyway, as you can see, I've talked through stamping both of those images down. It's really important to clean your stamping plate between each image. I like to clean mine with acetone. So as you can see, we've stamped down this first layer of marble, and then I want to layer a finer marble over the top. So I'm going to come in with the gold stamping polish, applying it to half the image, scraping it to fill the excess of the image, and then a quick flick of the wrist has picked up that image effortlessly. Now when it comes to scraping stamping polish, sometimes I'll scrape once, sometimes I'll scrape 2-3 times. It kind of depends how I feel the image is looking. If I feel as though it's quite a lot of excess stamping polish, I'll scrape over it again, and then it's going to fill the image a little bit better. If I feel as though there's any areas of the image that haven't got enough stamping polish on them, scraping again helps fill those as well. Now I pressed my image down, and then I did have some excess marble. I decided to fill some of the gaps in. Now obviously you could only do this with certain designs, but I liked how it looked in this marble look. So we're going to repeat that on the next nail. So as you can see, stamping polish applied, scraping the excess, a quick flick of the wrist. I just literally roll my stamper towards me, and I feel as though this picks up the image really easily. Again, with stamping, it's one of those things, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, so just practice. But if you do have any questions, do pop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to help. I always press my image down and then just do a little rock from side to side just to make sure it has fully transferred. You don't want to press too firmly as you'll dig the nail tip into the stamper. Just as long as that stamper is making contact with the nail, it should transfer effortlessly. I always like to clean my stamper on a lint roller. It just picks up all of that excess image. You don't want to be putting any kind of acetone or alcohol onto the stamper head, especially with these jelly ones, as it just dulls them. With some of the firmer rubber type stampers you can do that, but I always find these clear jelly style stampers the easiest to work with when it comes to lining up your image. So there we have our 2 layers of marble stamped down. Now we did only apply one color of the rubber color base. The rubber color bases are designed to be applied in 2 coats. So our first coat is the base coat and then your second coat for color. But for nail art reasons, I wanted to sandwich that stamp in between the 2, and I really loved how it turned out. This particular shade is sheer enough that you can still see that stamped image in between the 2 layers, and I just love the kind of effect it gives off, like that milky look. It softens the purple, especially in this stamp design, but I really loved how it turned out, especially where you've got the glitter particles over the top as well. So I have applied the second coat to both of these nails and popped these into cure, and then I want to do another layer of stamping over the top. So I'm going to use the Simply Polished Mystic plate for that, because I did want these nails to have a sun and moon theme. So originally I come in with some white stamping polish, applied this to that little moon image. I'm going to scrape the excess. Usually I will scrape towards me, but sometimes when the images are on the side like this, it's easier to scrape inwards of the plate. And then I picked up my image. Now it didn't pick up perfectly. There is this little nick in the moon. I would normally stamp this down and then use a little nail art brush to fill it in with some stamping polish. So I carried on as normal, stamped this image down, but I didn't feel as though this particular white stamping polish popped enough against the background. It kind of just looked a little too sheer. Now I haven't used this particular white stamping polish before, so it could just be that the bottle needed a bit of a shake, or maybe it's just not as pigmented as some other white stamping polishes I've used before. But naturally I don't feel as though white pops as much over a coloured base anyway. So the great thing about stamping over the top of a gel polish is that you can simply wipe away your image with some acetone and go in with a new image. So I'm doing it today because I didn't like how the white looked, but it's great if you make any mistakes with your stamping. So if you are practicing stamping, I would highly recommend stamping over gel polish rather than nail polish, because it is that little bit easier. If you do make any mistakes, you can simply wipe it off and re-stamp your image without wiping off whichever colour you've got underneath. The same if I'm doing layered nail art. So I will try and seal the design in with a layer of gel before I come in and do my stamped layer. Now we're going to go in, we've done our moon on one of the nails, so we're going to go in and do this sun on the other nail. And obviously these images are quite small and they're going over quite a patterned background, so I weren't expecting them to pop loads, but that was kind of the idea I had in mind for these 2 nails anyway. So I'm just going to stamp this down roughly off center in the middle of this nail, and I really do like how you've got that kind of messy marble glittery background with the sun and moon. I feel as though it really pulls all the celestial vibes together. So we're going to pop those 2 nails aside, and then I'm going to use RB26, which is this beautiful pearlescent white, and it has this stunning gold shimmer running through it. This was one of my favorite colors from the new rubber color base collection from Kiki, so I couldn't wait to get this one in a design. So we're going to do 1 coat, which would be our base layer if you were working on top of the natural nails. Normally I would apply this layer really thin, work it in to that natural nail plate, pop both of those in to cure for 30 seconds, and then I would come in with my second layer and float this on a little bit more. And usually when I'm doing this on myself, I'd build up a bit of an apex, especially if I'm doing like a natural nail overlay. I have loads of videos using these products on the Kiki London channel, so if you'd like to see more of them on natural nails, I definitely would recommend heading on over to the Kiki channel and checking those videos out. But if you do have any requests, pop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to give it a go. I loved how this color looked once you come in and applied that second coat. It's got that beautiful soft milky pearlescent base, and those gold shimmers just run through it beautifully. Now on these two nails, I picked out this little junk embellishment mix, and it's got some stars, some suns, some moons, some 3D crystals, larger gems. It's a big mix, and I kind of wanted to do something with this, but I haven't worked with crystals in a long time, so I didn't want to do anything too complicated. I'm going to use some gem gel mixed with my rubber top coat to apply these, because I want them to be able to stick on the nail, and we're working over a nail that's quite curved. It's already got an apex, so I want to make sure that the crystal is going to lie nice and flat. So I'm going to go in with some of the gem gel, apply this roughly where I'm applying my crystal or my embellishment, keeping it thicker in that area and then thinning it out as we work it down the nail. And then I'm going to come straight over the top of this with a layer of rubber top coat, and then we're going to set our crystals down in this. And then once you've done this, you wouldn't need to re-top coat if you didn't want to, because technically the nail has already been top coated. So on this first nail, I'm going to come in and just apply a simple moon up in the corner and then pop that into cure for 60 seconds. I was just trying to show you guys there where we've applied that thicker layer of gem gel. It sticks that moon down so that it's lying flat against the nail, whereas if we'd have just stuck it down with some glue or just rubber top coat, it wouldn't have lied nice and flat on the curve of the apex of the nail. On this nail, I done the same steps. So we applied our gem gel, went in with our rubber top coat over the top, and then I've gone in with a little star. Now this one was still quite large, sorry, not a star, not a moon, a sun. So we've gone in with our sun, and it was still quite large, and it was going to stick up a little bit. You could bend this, but I knew I wanted to use some crystals on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3D crystals and kind of like make it so the sun is leaning on them, and I've made sure that there's enough gel so that I'm able to stick those crystals down. If you don't have gem gel, I think this would also work with a builder gel or a sculpting gel. It's something that I'll definitely have to try out, because I really want to get into doing some more crystal designs. I have loads of crystals and embellishments, and they're just not something that I personally reach for too often. They're not something I necessarily like wearing on my own nails anymore too often either. I hate anything that kind of catches on stuff, but I definitely want to play around and get some more crystal designs done, because they are really fun, and I thought it looked really pretty with the marble stamping that we've got going on in the other nails. So once I was happy with how they're all placed, we're going to pop that in to cure for 60 seconds, and then that's all of our nail art done. So we're ready to come in and top coat. Now the two white nails, you could leave them just with that rubber top coat because everything is already top coated, but I actually wanted these two nails to be matte, so I'm going to come in with the Kiki London No White matte top coat, and I'm just applying this to the entire nail, trying to not take it over that embellishment. Of course, you could use a little small nail art brush here as well. And I'm pushing it up towards those crystals and embellishments, so it would also be helping add an extra layer of security of keeping them in place if you was wearing this on yourself or a client. But then on the other two nails, I decided to keep these glossy, so I'm going to come in with a layer of the crystal top coat. I do have a discount code for Kiki as well, which I will leave in the description box below. That gets you 10% off of their products as well. But this was the finished result. I hope you all enjoyed watching. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know how you're all doing, and hopefully I shall see you all again in my next video. Lots of love, take care, bye bye.